Try to use those differences to work with each other because both are important. Somebody got to be willing to take the leap and somebody got to be willing to make sure that you're making smart investments. So, you know, work with each other. What's up, Flourishing fam? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Flourish with Delores, where flourishing is about progress and not to perfection, honey. And in today's video, we are answering your Airbnb questions that you submitted, but we're also taking you through the process of what happened after we closed on our home. So step by step on getting our Airbnb ready to go live. So if that sounds interesting, definitely keep on watching. This is my husband Charles, who's with me today, and let's get started. So definitely check out part 1 if you haven't yet. We just talk about getting started in general and the closing process. But once we closed, one of the things that we did, if you remember in the last video, you remember we said we started our business accounts. So with that, we also opened up different bank accounts. And the reason why we did that, one, I don't like commingling funds. Like I want funds, like if this is for Airbnb, I want it to be for Airbnb. But then also you need to open up a different account or establish what account you'll be using, because you want an account where the money is going to be coming in as you're making it, but then also the account where money is going to be coming out. So your mortgage, your light bills, your, you know, all the different things associated with your Airbnb. It really helps, to me, in my opinion, if you just separate that. That way the money that's coming in is the same as the money that's coming out, and it's all related to your Airbnb business. So that's one of the things we did.
So HOA, right? So if you're not familiar with it, homeowners association. So depending upon where you get it, you know, there are certain things that are covered under like the HOA. So ours is in a resort, right? So things that are covered under the HOA include like many of the resort amenities. So we have like pool, a hot tub, and like sports complex, like basketball and tennis courts, and a movie theater, and a convenience store. So all of that
is really nice.
Is available for, you know, not only the owners, yeah, obviously, but like for all your guests that come through, like they have access to that. And then it also covers some things in the home, like the lawn care, the daily trash removal, the roof as well. So all those things are great, but you will pay a monthly fee for it. So I would say you'll do some research and get an average idea of like how much it actually costs like per month, because in addition to the mortgage, that's also something you have to pay as well. Right.
So yeah, when you're doing the saving part, think about the mortgage, but then think about the bills that are associated with running your home. So for us, it's the HOA, like Charles said. But one of the nice things about our HOA is it also covers our cable and our internet. So we don't have to worry about that, and we don't have to worry about lawn care and all of that, but it definitely does come with a price. And one thing that was hidden that we weren't aware of was every year our HOA goes up. So we budgeted for a certain price with the HOA, let's say $500 a month, I think that's what it was, and then our HOA went up $100 as soon as we closed, and we were like, what the heck, I thought it was $500, why is it $600? And we closed in January, so it was a new year, so it's time to pay the new price. Yesterday's price was not today's price. So, you know, we want to be transparent with that, so you're also prepared. Also with that comes your other bills. So again, cable and such was covered, but we still have our water bill, our light bill. What were some of the bills? Charles was the one that was really more involved with this, with setting up the bills. Actually, before that, let's break down in our business who has what role. So Charles, you know, he's the head of our household, so I see him as like the CEO. I see myself as the chief financial officer. I do a lot of like the billing, the accounting. I make sure, like I have a whole Excel spreadsheet where I track like all of our expenses. I track our receipts. I track money that's coming in, money that's coming out. So I see myself as the CFO. I also see myself as the chief marketing officer, because, you know, with between Instagram and like things like YouTube, talking about our Airbnb, and of course I will link our Airbnb below if you want to visit, we'd appreciate that. I'm also the chief designing officer, so I was the one on the Amazons and in the home goods, doing a lot of the decorating. Charles is also big with chief operating officer, like again, like you set up our light bills and all of that. But then you're also big on like the communication between our realtors. Who else were you communicating with? Our booking agency, which we'll talk about a little bit more. So we both have communicating under our roles, but I more so communicate with our like cleaning company, where Charles communicates with our booking company, with our guests, when he's setting up our guests. We've automated a lot of that now, so that's been really helpful, but we'll get more into that. So what were some of the bills that you had to set up? I just remember water and light, but I wasn't too involved.
That's pretty much it. Water, light, HOA, and the mortgage.
Awesome. So make sure that you are ready to do that. And then the next step is we engage with a booking company, but Charles did a lot of this too. So I'll let you talk about like what is a booking company? Why did we decide to go with a booking company instead of running our own Airbnb account?
So, you can kind of do it one or two ways, right? So with your property, if you want to be responsible for putting it on Airbnb or any other site, or if you don't want to put it on there, if you just want to make your own bookings, you can do that. If you don't necessarily want to go through that process and would rather have a management company take charge of creating the bookings and sending out the emails with like the intro information, you can get a management company. So that's what we opted for.
It comes down to time. How much time do you have? Which we both work full-time demanding jobs. So as much as, and when we first started our Airbnb journey, like I imagined myself setting up like our little Airbnb account and really like, marketing it and everything. But we both have demanding jobs and it's just not realistic. Where our booking company has it on Verbo, has it on Airbnb, has it on bookings.com, and has it on their company website, and they're pushing it out. They're deciding what the rate should be and doing that research.
Because they don't take money from you unless they have a booking. So if you don't make money, they don't make money. So they're motivated to make sure that your property is rented for the max amount that is possible because they get more commission that way.
So even though some people see it as a con, that because our booking company and every booking company is different, some might charge 20% off of your earnings, some might do 10%, ours is 10%. And to me, it's really not that bad because like Charles said, they're gonna do what they can do to make sure that you get booked. Because if they don't get booked, they don't get their 10%. So that really helps that we're not paying, a company money to run it and then just to pay them, if that makes sense. Like,
so, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I was gonna say what's also included in that. So they make the actual like booking. So like they write like the whole like paragraph like explaining it because they kind of know like what are some features that should be included. So you don't have to think about that. They send which I don't think we had to pay for, right?
No, it's a part.
So they send a professional photographer to come and take pictures of your property, and it's also good because they come once you're officially set up, so they basically use that time as like a practice like check-in. So it was good so that you can kind of see if like, okay, like maybe that check-in didn't work, maybe my instructions weren't clear. So it's kind of like a practice version of it, but yeah.
And you get free beautiful pictures like Charles said, and the pictures are everything, because when you're shopping on Airbnb, that's really what you're looking at when you're deciding which Airbnb you're gonna go for. At least that's one of the first things you're looking at. So it was nice to get a free photography service where you would have to be taking your own pictures if you were setting up your own Airbnb or hire your own photographer. Good plan, I forgot about that. So we did interview, we knew which one we wanted because we knew someone that was already with it, but we did talk to the booking company that our former owners had, and their rate was 20%, but then they also had a bunch of hidden costs. So we weren't feeling that. One of the pros with staying with them though was that our former owners had 3 months that were already like booked. So that would have been guaranteed money for us. And we would have been fine if they were willing to let us finish out that 3 months and then transition, but it just felt like we'd be stuck in some contract. So we decided to just start clean. The con of that is, we don't have reviews, we didn't have the bookings, but the pro was that we're starting with a company that we really like, that we are fair. And once we went live, we did book the first month. Again, we had to start lower with our price because we're the new kids on the block, but I think for the most part, we're happy that we didn't go with that company.
Yeah, I think so.
So all of that is happening, and we're not even in the state of Florida. We're just having meetings via Zoom, via phone. So one of the things that we also did remotely was had services done, such as painting and carpet cleaning. So again, we had to start getting our house ready to be ready to go live after we close, because now we need to start making money because mortgage is about to be due. So we hired carpet cleaners, we hired getting the house painted. Some things we probably didn't need to paint, so in the before and after, so the living room was like this dark gray, and I wanted it to feel a little bit more brighter, more welcoming. Yeah, you know, the decorating officer, which helps because those photos came out beautiful. So we changed that. My co-chief decorating officer actually did not like our Star Wars room, or the Star Wars room that the former owners had.
I watched the first one and I just never could get into it. I'm sorry for everyone that's a Star Wars. I just couldn't get into it.
And to me, it's a little violent if it's like a kid's room.
I was like, it needs to be Disney, and I selected Toy Story because that's one of my mom's favorite movies. So that's what we went with. It designed a Toy Story room.
Yeah, so that was one of the major things that we had to like, it was wallpaper, so we had to paint that over. And then we just painted just to give the house a facelift. So that was an expense. It's something that we had done while we were remote. We also engaged with cleaning companies. So we interviewed cleaning companies to see what their prices were, how they work, how they manage themselves in terms of when we get a booking, when they come in, what they offer. Like, do you offer detergent? Do you offer garbage bags? How many garbage bags? Because that makes a difference with how much you're putting into our home. Are you willing to, if we ask, like for example, one of the things we do in our home is put out treats for every guest. We have like cookies and stuff. So are you willing to put out the treats or the extra stuff that we want to put out? So those were some of the questions that we asked cleaning companies, and some don't do the extras, some do. So we went with a cleaning company that does provide at least like a paper towel, tissue, detergent, and they were willing to put out our extras. So we put out like Keurig cups. And one thing I really like about our cleaning companies, they're very organized. Like every time they clean, they upload the pictures into a portal, which is great for us who don't live in Orlando, where we can't just check in our house, check in to see how our house is doing. At least we're seeing updates on how our house looks, which is nice. So far, that's pretty good. And they're good. Like if they see any damages,
they'll let you know.
Yeah, we haven't really had anything yet, but they'll let us know. Or if things are running low. So let's say, for example, they only offer one toilet paper. We went and bought some bulk toilet paper so they can offer like 2 for certain guests, like if a guest is staying longer. The other thing that we did was begin sending decor and things that we needed for the house to Orlando. So I was team Amazon, and thank God for our realtors who turned property managers.
That doesn't always happen.
Yeah,
so.
Everyone doesn't have that luxury. So they were willing, which God bless y'all, they were willing to have me mail things over to their house. And if I could find a picture, I'll pop it in, like how much stuff we mailed to their house. A lot. But we needed to set up our home. But some of the things they were telling us, like order this, order that. Yeah. So we had to order sheets. You know, we wanted to put fresh sheets, mattress covers, bed bug protectors on our mattresses, towels, pillowcases, decor, you know, like fake plants and stuff, snacks. Like there was just so much that we were ordering and sending over.
I don't even have some of this stuff in my house.
We don't got towel sheets. We don't have a bed bug protector. But, no. I mean, we all got different people sleeping on us.
Yeah, it's like it's just me and you.
Yeah, but like the last thing you want is bed bugs in your Airbnb. So we ordered a bunch of stuff and had it sent to Orlando. And then our property managers, or realtors turned property managers, shout out to Gil and Chris, began organizing some of the stuff while we were in New Jersey. So within about a week of closing, or maybe 2 weeks of closing, we flew down to Florida and got set up, y'all. And I was 5 months pregnant. And it was just the first night. We were there just for 2 nights. Literally, we got off the flight at like 9 in the morning.
Because you wanted to leave later. I was like, nah, we need
thank God we didn't. It took like 2 hours to even get out the airport, get our rental car and everything. Yeah. And then we went to the store and got more stuff that we needed for the house, like some finishing touches. And the first night was just, the first day of setting up was just Charles and I. And I was 5 months pregnant at the time, so it was really just like we just had like a 1.5 people, you know, so we're trying to open boxes and stuff. And there's, I mean, I think I did a lot, but there was just only so much, like you didn't have as much muscle.
Dang.
No, you didn't have as much muscle to help you. Not you personally don't have, oh my God.
Yeah, I was lifting that big 75-inch
muscle.
TV.
I'm talking about you didn't have me, like you don't have
I
extra
know.
muscle. Jeez. So, you know, that was difficult because it was like having just 1.5 people working. So we worked from like 11 a.m. when we got into the house to like midnight, 1 o'clock, where I was like, my body can't take it no more. But opening boxes, setting up. One of the things that we had was Charles's like huge mega TV, which is like a nice addition to the home. So that was the first night of setting up. And then the second night, our property managers / realtors came in and hung up curtains because we're not the best at like hanging stuff up.
Terrible.
So they, you know, did the hanging up curtains, hanging up the wall decor, which was really nice, and they really helped collaborate with us with making our home so beautiful, like changing the dining table area. I'll pop in some pictures and videos. So that was very, very helpful. So that's what we did the second day, and then just doing a little bit more shopping. But one thing I will say, again, I think we said it in our last video, this isn't an easy journey. It takes a lot of muscle and a lot of upfront costs and just a lot of time. So even with the upfront costs, like being in Orlando, one, we already spent so much money sending things to the house, but then I think we had like a Target day, and then the next day we still had to go pick up some more stuff. So it just felt like we were just spending so much money, and even I got to the point where I'm like, babe, I'm tired of spending money.
Tell me.
Yeah, I was like, I am tired of spending money. So, you know, just keep that in mind, because people, you know, say things like, oh, Airbnb is so easy, or
we also
it's just
pay
you're gonna be rich.
We also pay them as well. Probably not this year.
Yes, so we also pay our property managers. So, you know, when you are looking, and that's actually one of the questions that we have, we're going to start answering your questions. But one of the questions that we had, someone asked is like, how do you deal with having a home out of the state that you live in? And honestly, the only way to survive that is to have property managers. Every property manager, well, one, you have to find someone you trust, which can be a little scary. Thankfully for us, our realtors, we built such a nice relationship with them. But one other bonus was they own Airbnb property. So they already know how this works. They're already pretty successful in their businesses. So they know what to look out for, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So that was like a bonus for us with having them manage our property. And they're not really property managers in the sense of like we communicate with our guests, like when our guests come in and if they have issues and stuff. They're more so there if there is, for example, a couple of weeks ago, our key code stopped working. So we were able to call them and be like, hey, can you go over to the house and like figure out what's going on? And they figured out like, oh, it just needed a new battery, or we had to reset your Wi-Fi. So anytime they come, they charge us an hourly rate, and in addition to mileage, which they don't live super far. So it's not really expensive. Another thing they did, especially while we were prepping to go live, because we were only in Orlando for 2 days, but there was still so much that needed to be done.
Right.
So they did a lot of our like final shopping for us and going back into the house and like putting stuff together for us. So we pay them at an hourly rate for that too. So although it sometimes, you know, it sucks to spend the money, there's just no way we could have been in Orlando that long anyway. And it's just convenient to allow someone else to help you out so that you can accomplish what you want. Because like I said, like I feel like I always say, like you can have it all, but you can't do it all yourself. Like there's no way we can have the jobs that we have and be in Orlando like doing that as well. But these things cost money. So we just want to be so transparent with that so that y'all don't get got and you really plan and save as much money as possible. So let's get to answering more of your questions. So pretty much once we set up our house and it looked the way we wanted to look, our booking company went in, took the pictures, and we went live. So that was our process of going live. In short, if there's things that we remember along the way, we'll let you know. Oh, like some things, like we set up our ring light cameras so we can monitor our house remotely. We also set up a keypad for our home so guests can enter, and the keypad system that we went with allows us to make a unique code for every guest. So that's great because we can limit the time that a guest is using that unique code, but then also monitor who's you know, entering into our home, because if everybody had the same code, you wouldn't know, like, wait, did someone come back and use it? You know what I mean? So that is really helpful. So those are some of the other little things that we did to prepare to go live. And then doing as much research as possible, seeing what other Airbnb owners do to make their home unique and stand out. Like, you know, like I said, we do the Keurig cups, we do snacks. So those are some of the things we did to prepare to go live. So yay, we went live, and we'll do a future video of how it's been going so far, but that'll be later. All right, so for some of your questions, the first one someone asked is, did you use a realtor? So yes, we did. I don't know if you have to in Orlando, but it definitely helps to use a realtor, because one, you get access to their MLS, so book houses that are on sale that you wouldn't be able to see on like Zillow and such. But two, it just helps with guidance. And then also in the state of Florida, you don't have an attorney like you would in, like, let's say the state of New Jersey. So the realtor is like another eye to help look at everything. So highly recommend that.
Let's see. Hey girl, hey. Would you recommend starting with a house or a small condo apartment? I think it depends on where your comfort level is. I mean, for me personally, I would say smaller is probably better, just so that you can kind of get your feet wet and see. Like, I don't think, even if you do have the money, like, I mean, there are a lot of big properties in Florida. Like, there's some like Disney
like 13
theme, like
homes,
7-bedroom, like,
I mean 13 people capacity or 15 people capacity.
Like, if you want
capacity.
to, I mean, it's fine. I just don't know if I would do that for my first one. I would say it's probably a good idea. I feel like a condo is like a good place to start.
Yeah, and a lot of the homes in Orlando that are condos, they are pretty big. Like, ours is 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. I think we could fit 8 to 10 people in it. So it is pretty big. I would say go, even though HOA isn't the funnest to pay, it isn't the most fun. Thank you, baby. Isn't the most fun to pay. It kind of alleviates you having to think about who's gonna mow my lawn, who's gonna, you know, snow blow, who's gonna make sure the roof is okay. Like, so. Well, wherever you are, you know, so having the HOA does help with that. But there are HOA communities where you could also have a house and it's not a townhome in Florida. So maybe wherever you're looking, there may be HOA communities where you could still have that, like, protection or that support, I would maybe call it. One of the things is our home, where our community is, it has houses and townhomes, and it's also gated, which we love. It has a beautiful resort. So the HOA that we're paying includes all of that, the safety of it being gated and the beautiful resort amenities that our guests will have that will hopefully attract more business, because they'll see that as an option. The other thing about going big with a house is our cleaner, or a cleaner that we interviewed actually was saying this the other day. When the more room you have and the more people you're able to accommodate, the more you're likely to see damage, because more people are coming to party, to have like a lot of people. So that's something you have to think about first. So with Charles saying start smaller, just learn the business, because one day I would love to have a house that can hold like 15, 20 people, because I see, like, you know, huge family reunions, or we love doing like big couples like retreats. Like, I would love to do like a place where we could have like couples retreats and host our whole family. However, you have to keep in mind that the bigger or the more people you allow, the more damage you might see. The next question is, how do you deal with this in taxes? Sometimes I fear that I will owe more in taxes than gain. So from what we've been told, and again, we're not financial advisors, but what we've been told from our financial advisors, because it's set up as a business, we will hopefully not see a lot of taxes. We'll hopefully see tax benefits. So one of the things I did, especially our house, we closed in January, so we're not going to be able to get tax benefits on our house until next year. However, our business spent money on our business in 2022. So all of the painting that we did, the services that we got, the decor that we purchased, all of that was in the name of our business. So I was tracking all of those expenses, and we actually have a meeting later this week to talk to our tax person, who will then show us how we'll be able to benefit off of all those expenses. So can't really answer that question just yet for sure, but from what we learned, this is supposed to be a tax benefit for us.
I will say also, so with Airbnb, you're gonna have to pay like taxes on it, but in terms of like them helping you with it, so our management company, they offer like a service to have someone like help you with like how much you would like owe in taxes, so that like you don't like she said, like this person was saying, like spend like way more than you actually have, and then you can't pay your taxes, especially in another state later on. So some of these management companies do offer services. I think if you're still trying to figure it out, I think it might be good to connect with a person like that, at least for your first year.
Yes. And also too, me again, chief financial officer, one of the things that I do, because when we get our earnings, like when we get our payout from our management company, it'll have like how much we earned, like how much it was booked a night. It'll also have like the cleaning fee, and so the cleaning fee isn't coming in our pocket because we have to take that and pay the cleaner. And then it'll also have taxes, refunded to you. So when someone books an Airbnb, they pay taxes, and then that tax is paid to us. But I know that's not our money. So what I do is I take the cleaning fee and the taxes out of our earnings, and I put that somewhere else. The cleaning fee goes to pay the cleaners, and then the taxes, I've been tracking how much Airbnb has been giving us in taxes, and I've been putting that in a separate account. So when it is time to pay that, we can pay that.
Thank God for you, because I was not.
I don't like surprises when it comes to money, so I've been doing that.
I get surprised every spring.
Yeah, I've been doing that. And we haven't had to do our first submission yet, but I think we have to pay it per month. So basically that money that we gave us, we have to send it to the state of Florida every month. So we'll be doing that pretty soon as well. How much do you recommend to save up for in order to purchase an investment property? So you're gonna need money for your down payment. You're gonna need money for your closing costs. And when we bought our first home, let's say closing costs were about $10,000. Now they're like double that. So research how much your closing costs will be. You're also gonna need money to set up the property. So are you furnishing the whole property? Are you going to be painting? Are you going to be decorating? Are you just not going to do anything? Is it already furnished? So you'll need money for that.
I think just however much your down payment is, just take that and just double it. And however close you can get to that double, that's probably about what you need.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. I can't really give a number because it just depends on how much your home is going to cost.
It depends on what you're doing.
But it could be anywhere between like 30 to 60,000. So some people who are like, well, I don't have that, or it's going to take so long to have that, that's when you may want to look in starting with rental arbitrage and doing that legwork to rent someone else's home and get into the Airbnb business. Then maybe take that money and purchase your own home. But again, it just depends on what you prefer. I don't regret owning our property, because even if we have months where we're not profiting, it's still our home, and we're still making payments towards a mortgage that is ours, and that we also will still have tax benefits from, because we'll be able to claim losses on those or depreciation on that.
Depreciation.
So that's something that's always going to be a benefit for us that you wouldn't get for rental arbitrage because you don't own it. Another person asked, how much did you guys save for it and for how long? So again, we already kind of talked about that. And for how long, it probably was about 1.5 years. And then also too, we had our wedding, so some of the money that we got from our wedding, we were able to move towards that, but it did take some time to save for it.
Oh, and side hustles as well.
Oh yes, yes.
If you can find even just something as little as like, so for example, one thing that I do is that I take surveys that they ask of like doctors and stuff, and a couple hundred here or there. Put that in the account. It adds up.
Charles would be like, oh, I made 300 today. I'm going to put it in our Airbnb account. I'd be like, thanks, babe.
Yeah.
So you really have to decide what's important to you in that time of your life. And for us, it was, stacking up for this. So when Charles would make that extra money, instead of, going on trips or something like that, we would put it into that account. So Charles definitely found a couple side hustles where he was making money, and I have my side hustles too. So that's another way to make sure you're saving. The other question is, what strategies do you recommend for a young couple that is aspiring to do the same? Yay, I love that. Again, that was one of my whys. I really want to inspire other young couples to start building their own generational wealth and know that it is possible. I think one big strategy is you have to be on the same page. So there's always, in most relationships, there's always going to be someone that's like more of a risk taker and someone that's a little bit more chill, that, you know, wants to be a little bit more careful and make sure that you're making the right decision. For us in the beginning of our marriage, that felt like, it was very hard. It felt like I wanted to take risks. He wanted to, you know, be a little bit more careful and not, you know, take the leap. And it felt like we were just on two different pages. But I think one thing you need to do is see that as an asset, because it's great that I'm the risk taker, because we end up trying things and doing things that he probably wouldn't have. But then it's also great that he's reading things with a fine-tooth comb, making sure that we're actually ready financially, mentally, in terms of our education, what we know, and can be ready to be prepared to, you know, jump on this. So try to not fight against each other. Try to use those differences to work with each other, because both are important. Somebody got to be willing to take the leap and somebody got to be willing to make sure that you're making smart investments. So, you know, work with each other, figure out what your why is. One of the reasons, like for me, I wanted to inspire people. I wanted to, you know, build generational wealth. Well, for Charles, like hearing the tax benefit was like, all right, like let's look into this. So finding things that, you know, you don't have to be on the same page with what your why is, but you have to be on the same page with what your approach is going to be. So figuring out your why and then bringing that together and making it happen. I think that's a huge plus or strategy for a young couple. What would you say?
No, I mean, I agree. You know, you just got to, you know, research as much as possible, ask a lot of questions, and, you know, just make sure you guys are on the same page.
Absolutely. Well, that is it, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope these these answers to your questions were helpful, and that you are almost ready to start your business. We would love to do more videos like this, so definitely pop in some topics or more questions that you have, and we'll continue letting you know how our journey is going if you like that. And we'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.
See you.